The Tudors Dynasty Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rebecca Larson. Pauline Bonaparte and Maria Carolina of Austria were two powerful women whose lives intertwined with the political upheavals of 18th and 19th century Europe. Pauline, the sister of Napoleon Bonaparte, navigated the complexities of imperial France while defying societal expectations with her beauty, scandalous behavior, and eventual royal marriage to Prince Borghese. In contrast, Maria Carolina, the Queen of Naples, was a steadfast figure in the face of revolution and war, wielding considerable influence behind the scenes while fiercely defending her family's rule. Despite their different roles and regions, both women played pivotal parts in shaping the destinies of their kingdoms, leaving a lasting legacy of intrigue, power struggles, and personal sacrifice. Pauline Bonaparte was born on the 20th of October, 1780, in Corsica, an island off the coast of France. She was one of the 8 children of Letizia and Carlo Bonaparte that survived to adulthood. She was 11 years younger than Napoleon. He would later reflect that he and Pauline had been the spoiled children of the family. True to the sentiment, responsibility was never Pauline's strong suit. She received no formal education and showed little interest in intellectual pursuits. Instead, she was drawn to a life of luxury and indulgence. A notorious flirt, she took great pride in her beauty, especially her pale complexion and the elegance of her hands and feet. Pauline's first love was Louis-Marie Stanislas Frion, a deputy to the National Convention, who was 39 when she was only 13. Their relationship was passionate, but ultimately doomed. While Frion wished to marry Pauline, he was already engaged to another woman. Upon discovering this, Napoleon swiftly intervened, separating the two and putting an end to the affair. A man named General Leonardo Duffel also fell in love with Pauline, but their romance was short-lived. Before anything could come of it, he was killed in 1797, cutting their relationship tragically short. Although Pauline had her own romantic preferences, Napoleon arranged for her to marry French officer Victoire Leclerc. Regardless of her wishes, the two wed on the 14th of June, 1797, and welcomed a son, Dermid, on the 20th of April, 1798. Napoleon himself chose the boy's name, inspired by a hero from his favorite epic, Ossian. In 1801, Napoleon appointed Leclerc as Governor-General of Saint-Dominique, present-day Haiti, and sent him to suppress a rebellion. Pauline and Dermid accompanied him, though she was reluctant to leave Europe. Making the best of her situation, she entertained numerous lovers and even kept a menagerie of native animals. However, their time in Saint-Dominique was marked by hardship. The rebellion raged on, disease spread rapidly, and the entire family fell ill. On the 2nd of November, 1802, Leclerc succumbed to yellow fever. Heartbroken but determined, Pauline returned to France with Dermid and her husband's remains. Wanting to strengthen ties with the French-occupied Italy, Napoleon arranged for Pauline to marry Prince Camillo Borghese, a wealthy Roman nobleman who proved to be just as superficial and carefree as she was. They wed on the 28th of August, 1803, but their union was far from harmonious. Pauline's indifference toward her husband, combined with her frivolous nature and rumored infidelities, did little to endear her to Roman society. Pauline's health remained fragile, prompting Borghese to suggest a visit to the baths of Pisa. Though she wished to bring her son, Dermid, her husband persuaded her to leave him in the care of his brother. Tragically, on the 14th of August, 1804, while Pauline was away, the 6-year-old succumbed to fever and convulsions. Devastated, Pauline placed the blame on Borghese. deepening the rift in the already strained marriage. In 1806, as Napoleon was crowned King of Italy, Pauline was granted the title of Duchess of Guastalla. This period of prestige saw her likeness immortalized in the famous statue Venus Victrix by Canova, further cementing her reputation as one of the great beauties of her time. She took up residence in Versailles, joining the ranks of celebrated women such as the Marquise de Pompadour and Queen Marie Antoinette, known for their charm, elegance, and influence. Pauline Bonaparte's marriage to Prince Camillo Borghese was far from a happy one, but like her brother Louis, she stayed in at Napoleon's insistence. The prince's wealth and title served a practical purpose, yet the couple lived largely separate lives. When Napoleon was exiled to Elba in 1814, Pauline made a decisive break from her unhappy marriage, liquidating her assets to join him, becoming the only one of his siblings to do so. She quickly became the life and soul of his entourage, offering both emotional support and financial assistance to help cover his expenses during this time in exile. Although Pauline had hoped to join Napoleon during his return to power in 1815, she was detained by the Austrians in Italy. After his defeat at Waterloo and subsequent exile to St. Helena, Pauline relocated to Rome, where she was accompanied by her mother, Letizia, her brother Louis and Lucien, and her uncle, Joseph Fesch. Settling into an apartment at the Palazzo Borghese, Pauline also acquired the Villa Paolina, which later became the French embassy to the Holy See. She spared no expense in renovating the villa and its gardens, transforming it into a renowned center of hospitality and grandeur. Pauline hosted lavish balls, concerts, and soirees, attracting distinguished visitors from all over Europe. As Pauline's health continued to decline, she sought reconciliation with her husband, Prince Borghese, who had been living with his mistress in Florence. In 1824, she appealed to the Pope for help in mending their fractured relationship and spent her final months with him. Pauline passed away on the 9th of June, 1825, at the age of 44. The official cause of death was attributed to a tumor on her stomach. She was buried in Rome, leaving behind a legacy marked by both beauty and scandal. Maria Carolina of Austria, born on the 13th of August, 1752, was one of the 16 children born to Maria Theresa of Austria and Francis I, Holy Roman Emperor. Maria Carolina, like her siblings, was trained from infancy to join the ranks of Europe's ruling aristocracy. Her mother, Maria Theresa, the powerful Empress of Austria, ensured that all her children received a rigorous education. Maria Carolina was meticulously tutored in subjects such as music, drawing, history, geography, and Latin, preparing her for the responsibilities she would face as a future queen. This solid education played a crucial role in shaping her intellectual abilities and diplomatic acumen, which she would later use during her reign in Naples. Maria Theresa was deeply committed to shaping her children into wise, diligent, and devout rulers. Not only did she oversee their academic education, but she also paid meticulous attention to their religious training. A devout Catholic, Maria Theresa attended Mass every morning and evening, instilling a strong sense of faith in her children. She was vigilant in ensuring that they engaged in productive activities, always on the lookout for any signs of idleness or carelessness. Her goal was clear: to raise a generation of rulers who were not only intellectually capable, but also deeply pious and committed to their duties. This intense upbringing was integral to the future roles that her children, including Maria Carolina, would play in the courts of Europe. Maria Theresa wrote to Charles III of Spain, the father of Ferdinand I, with a proposal to arrange a marriage between one of her daughters and Ferdinand. Charles had relinquished the throne of Naples to inherit the Spanish crown, leaving Ferdinand as the heir to Naples. Maria Theresa offered two of her daughters, Maria Amalia, who was 5 years older than Ferdinand, and Maria Carolina, who was only 18 months younger than his other sister, Josephina. Ferdinand, however, expressed the reluctance to marry a woman older than him and begged his father to reconsider. As a result, the betrothal was made with Maria Carolina, setting the stage for the future queen's powerful influence over the kingdom. Maria Carolina, devastated by the prospect of marrying Ferdinand, begged her mother not to force her into the match. She feared the Neapolitan marriage was cursed, especially after the tragic death of her sisters. Yet Maria Theresa, unwavering in her resolve, insisted that her daughter fulfill her royal duty. With no other option, Maria Carolina was placed under the tutelage of Josephina's former teacher, Countess von Lerchenfeld. The Countess was given just 9 months to prepare the 15-year-old for the immense responsibilities of becoming a queen, setting in motion the young princess's transition into a role that would shape not only her future, but that of Naples as well. Maria Carolina's marriage to Ferdinand IV in 1768 marked the beginning of her significant influence over the Kingdom of Naples. The couple's marriage contract granted her a seat in the Council of State, but only after she had given birth to a male heir, which she did in 1777. Despite their initial struggles with infertility, Maria Carolina and Ferdinand eventually had a growing family. Their first child, a daughter named Maria Theresa of Naples, was born in 1772, followed closely by another daughter, Luisa Amelia. In 1776, they were blessed with a son, Carlo, though tragically he passed away in 1778. Over the next 2 decades, Maria Carolina would go on to give birth to a total of 18 children between 1772 and 1794, solidifying her role not only as a powerful queen, but also as a dedicated mother to a large and ever-expanding family. Once in power, Maria Carolina swiftly reshaped the kingdom's political landscape. She orchestrated the downfall of the liberal minister Bernardo Tanucci and shifted the court's allegiance from Spain to Britain. Her political decisions, often guided by her favorite, Sir John Acton, reflected her strong pro-British stance. The execution of her sister, Marie Antoinette, further influenced her views, and she led Naples into the first Austro-British coalition against revolutionary France. The eruption of the French Revolution in 1789 shattered Maria Carolina's once steadfast belief in Enlightenment ideals. Initially sympathetic to some of the reforms that sparked the revolution, she was soon horrified by the violent direction it took. As revolutionary fervor spread, aristocratic families, including many from France, sought refuge in Italy and other neighboring regions. Maria Carolina, shaken by the escalating bloodshed, became increasingly alarmed. Desperately, she tried to persuade her sister, Marie Antoinette, to flee with her children, fearing the worst. But her brother-in-law, King Louis XVI, remained hesitant, believing his people's loyalty would endure. Tragically, his indecision led to disaster. After a failed escape attempt in 1792, the royal family was imprisoned. In 1793, Louis XVI was executed by guillotine, followed by Marie Antoinette in 1794. As the French Revolution raged on, Maria Carolina, Queen of Naples, maintained a strong pro-British, anti-French stance, fearing the revolution's spread to her own kingdom. Her political influence in Naples led her to join the Austro-British coalition against revolutionary France, determined to protect her family's power. However, the rise of Napoleon would soon complicate matters. In 1806, Napoleon's brother, Joseph Bonaparte, was installed as King of Naples, undermining Maria Carolina's authority and ambitions. She fought fiercely against Napoleon's dominance, but by 1814, following his defeat in exile, the stability of her kingdom crumbled. The defeat of the Neapolitan army during the French occupation dealt a devastating blow to Maria Carolina's relationship with her husband, Ferdinand IV. His confidence in her leadership faltered, and he declared his intention to take control of the government. Ultimately, Maria Carolina's political influence waned, and her health began to deteriorate. She passed away in September 1814, just as the European powers were finalizing their decisions at the Congress of Vienna. The Bourbon dynasty in Naples would continue, but Maria Carolina's dream of a restored and independent kingdom was forever dashed. Her death marked the end of an era for Naples, with the region now firmly within the grasp of European geopolitics. Pauline Bonaparte and Maria Carolina of Austria exemplified the complexities of royal life and power during the times of monumental change. While Pauline's story was marked by personal scandal, artistic patronage, and a tumultuous relationship with Napoleon's ambitions, Maria Carolina's narrative revolved around political strategy, resistance to French influence, and the defense of her family's sovereignty. Though their paths were shaped by different circumstances, both women left enduring marks on history through their resilience, their ability to navigate the intricacies of political and familial loyalty, and their efforts to assert control in worlds where women's power was often constrained. Their legacies remind us of the multifaceted roles women have played in shaping the course of European history, often behind the scenes, but no less impactful. And that concludes another episode of the Tudors Dynasty podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you love the show and would like to show your support, consider becoming a patron over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Tudors Dynasty. Over there, you'll get commercial-free episodes, early access, and some patron-exclusive content as well. If you would prefer to show your support in another way, head on over to my website, tudorsdynasty.com, and click on the shop to see some of the new merchandise that I have available. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
The Tudors Dynasty Podcast.